going back on the ballot this November.
Hello. Thanks for having me. I'm Scott Stephenson from the Sheriff's Office. Came tonight with my wife Lisa and my son Zach. Not just for the meeting, but we had some running around to do tonight, but I thought it'd be nice to bring them along. This issue is kind of more of a family issue and community issue than it is just a police matter. And they're here with me to advocate for the H.U.N.T. millage. I didn't bring a lot of statistics or anything like that to bore you with, and I'm not going to use the 20 minutes that I have. But I sit on a committee with a bunch of the fellows in here. There's some ladies on the, I'm not seeing you here tonight. There's some ladies on the committee also, but we're advocating for the H.U.N.T. millage. It's coming back on the ballot this year. We've revamped it a little bit. We've revamped kind of how we're thinking about it. 4 years ago, it was kind of a different situation in Alcona County. We had a big fight with medical marijuana folks, and marijuana was on the ballot in Michigan, and it was a perfect storm for us to lose this millage, and we did. We lost a H.U.N.T. officer on the team. We lost support of the H.U.N.T. team coming here as often as they were. Now we're in a position where we're basically handling all of our complaints on our own at the Sheriff's Office. And I'd like to put it in perspective how this works on the street level for a police officer. It's kind of like going to the doctor's office when you're sick and it turns out you have cancer. Your family doctor can tell you all day long that you have cancer, and he can tell you you're sick and you know you're sick, but to be treated you really need to go to an oncologist. You need the specialist. And that's what the H.U.N.T. officers are. On the street level, we can tell when there's drugs around. We can catch the people who are possessing the drugs. We need the expertise to help us with the criminal enterprise and to help us with the dealers that are out there. That's where the street level guys have a hard time. We're pretty much devoted to calls as they come in and things that happen on a day-to-day basis. We don't have time to devote days and weeks on end into these long investigations that the H.U.N.T. officers are available to do and able to do. Just not something we can do practically. So we're not so much looking at this this marijuana issue this year. And I had a chance today at a meeting to speak with the new lieutenant of H.U.N.T. My big concern, and the concern of a lot of folks in the county, was that they're banging on doors, kicking in doors, coming into people's houses, taking their kids, taking their property, and leaving things a mess over marijuana. Problem is, the majority of folks in Alcona County and around Michigan, it lost in 83 counties, people are supporting medical marijuana in Michigan. Don't like it, but it's here. And now we've got some silly laws on the books that we have to enforce or not enforce, or turn our backs and walk away from grow operations where we never used to do that. 20 years ago, when we smelled marijuana in somebody's house, we're talking to them at their front door. If we smelled marijuana in their house, we went in. We were going. Now, there's a whole procedure of trying to investigate whether they're legal or illegal, or if we should even be there. So we're steering away from the marijuana aspect of this a little bit, and I want to talk a little bit about some of the other things that are going on that we're seeing. By way of methamphetamines in our county, heroin, and opiate addiction. And I got a few examples I can talk about. One of them I can't go into too much detail on because it's still being investigated and prosecuted. One happened in Alcona County several years ago. The Lafayette Pharmacy was held up at gunpoint by an armed robber who went in at gunpoint and demanded Oxycontin, certain milligram, certain dosage. Didn't want alcohol, didn't want money, didn't want other narcotics. He knew exactly what he wanted. Armed robbery is a pretty serious crime in Alcona County or Alpena County or anywhere in northeast Michigan. That's a big deal. That's scary when they go in at gunpoint demanding exactly what they want. 2 years ago, our pharmacy was broken into, not at gunpoint, it happened in the middle of the night. These robbers came and used bolt cutters to snip the power line. They went inside, took enough time to read pill bottles and take exactly what they wanted and leave what they did not want. Pretty brazen, pretty brazen. They cut the power so the alarm wouldn't go off. So we had a delayed response there. Our credit union in Glennie was broken into by a drug addict a few years ago, I think just 2 years ago. Basically broke in, looking to steal some money, got in there and was so disoriented because of his intoxication level, didn't take any money. Tried to pop a safe, but realized things weren't going well and took off. And the other one I can't talk a whole heck of a lot about is a situation that kind of touches home because there were kids involved in this one. A gentleman who was addicted to opiates in Alcona County, was paying for his prescription drug problem. He was paying the drug dealer's electric bill at his house. The drug dealer ran up such an electric bill at his house he couldn't afford to pay for his electricity, so in exchange he was selling his medication for it. He ended up overdosing and dying on his couch from the medications he bought from this guy. EMS responded to the scene. They tried to revive him. The entire time the children are around the house watching and seeing this go on. They watched him try to be revived, which includes usually vomiting all over the place. They didn't revive him. They pronounced him dead. So a medical examiner had to come to the house. Gillies had to come to the house. Gillies Funeral Home had to come to the house and take him away, all in front of the kids. So when we talk about drug addicts in our community and how it affects people, it affects a lot more than just the people directly involved. It affects the families in the outreach. I've heard some stories from the EMS that were involved in that, and they just broke their heart. Absolutely broke their heart to watch these kids walking around while their dad was dead on the couch. These are some of the things that are going on in Alcona County. I don't think everybody knows about these things. I know about them because I see them day to day. Our prosecutor knows about them because he prosecutes the crimes that we bring to him. People in the courthouse see it because people go through the court process and they're there. EMS and people in the medical field see it because they deal with it every day. But I think the general population doesn't know what's going on. They don't know we have a heroin problem. They don't know that people get addicted to opiates in Alcona County, and after a short period of time of not being able to afford them, or they become, they have a difficult time obtaining the pills because the doctors get wise to them, or the pharmacies get wise, they resort to heroin, because heroin is much more cheap and much more readily available.
And it's a new breed now, right? It's got fentanyl in it, which is making it...
Some of it does. It makes it much more addictive and much more potent. And fentanyl is, it's been a couple years since I've seen a fentanyl death, but we did find a gentleman 4 or 5 years ago with several fentanyl patches on his body, and he overdosed from fentanyl. Those are a patch that absorb through your skin. The medication absorbs through your skin. So these are the things that we're looking at, and this is why we're asking for it to be, for you to support the millage that's coming up in November. Another example I just came across today, I ran into a young man. His dad wanted me to introduce him to him because he drives like crazy or whatever. And I asked him if he went to school. He said, yeah, I'm going to be a senior this year. And I said, well, let me just ask you, do we have a drug problem in school? He said, are you kidding? It's all over. I said, what do you mean? What have you seen? He says, 3 and maybe 4 times last year, he went into the boys' bathroom and walked in on people snorting crushed pills. At school, wow. During school, getting high. And he said, I didn't know what to do or say, so I just turned and walked out and I used another bathroom. That's just today. That's just a simple example. His dad was there and he was just floored. Just floored that this is going on. But we can ask just about anybody around, if we can get them candidly to talk about things like that, they know they're going on, and so do we. We can't close our eyes anymore. We can't act like it's not out there. It is. It's here. It's here to stay. We have huge drug areas in Alpena and Oscoda on either side of us, and those people are part of our community. They're here with us, and those are the reasons I'm asking the Republican committee and anybody else involved to spread the word. Let's vote for this millage. Let's get another officer on H.U.N.T. That's what the millage is for, is to help put somebody from my department back in H.U.N.T. so they can work here in this county with our officers and help us with those more big in-depth cases of drug conspiracy and criminal enterprise that we're not able to work on by ourselves.
So I guess this is the point I guess I want to come to, like as in Kathleen's case, like as in your case. What is it that you can get us to do? Have you got any campaigns coming up?
Yeah, we sure do. We're set up now so we can start collecting funds to put into an account. We've got a couple of pamphlets and brochures we're working on. We're asking folks in support of it. We're gathering a list of names, so at some point we can publish those in the newspaper, Alcona County residents who are in support of this. We're also asking people who have a unique position to maybe write a letter to the editor and voice their opinion. Those are some of the things we're asking for help on. Yeah, we're getting signs. After we get some money together, we'll get some signs. But
have you got any cards or anything that you can leave here so that we can contact you? Is there a sheet we can sign?
Yeah, we can get a We can do two sign-up sheets if we want. One, if you're in favor of us letting us put your name in the newspaper when we get an ad ready for that. And a second is if you want me to contact you to talk to you about what you can do for us. That'd be fine.
Everybody on board with that?
I think this is something that we could potentially put to a vote for the ACR so that you can say the Alcona County Republicans, the entire group, if we put it to a vote, officially get us all on board with Hunt.
Have no problem in doing that. Would like to forward a motion that ACR, Alcona County Republicans, support, endorse Hunt.
I second
I'll
that
second.
motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Unanimous.
Unanimous.
Okay. Gary, we do have a Facebook site that's just in the beginning stages. It is open now. It's called Citizens for a Safer Alcona. Please visit that site. We're just in the process of building it. There are several photographs of meth labs that we have found. We're going to be adding to that, so please get on there and check it out. You can put a like on there. You can put your, whatever you'd like to put on there.
Well, Carrie
As
can have a
comments?
link from our site to that one.
Yep.
So anybody that hits our site can see that site also.
The one concern that I also have, I don't want this to turn into a partisan issue.
Right.
So be very careful. This is not a partisan issue. It's a health and safety issue for this community. Without Hunt, and you know, everybody wants to talk about statistics, but when you have a Hunt officer on the team, there's that threat that the dealers don't know who they're selling to. They don't know if they're selling to an undercover officer or who they're selling to. So that threat in and of itself is a benefit to us. But we can't, how do you statistically count that? You really can't. So there are a number of other issues out there floating around. This has never been a marijuana issue. It's a controlled substance issue, period.
Okay.
Our county is suffering, as Sergeant Stephenson mentioned, immensely from this pill diversion. That's probably the biggest problem I see right now, and it's with opiates. So just please be careful. Make sure we don't turn this into a partisan type of issue. That's what it turned into last time.
Okay.
So just please be careful with that. A couple other things unrelated. There was a federal judge, Gary, Sunday, did you know, in reference to the transgender issue?
Yeah, the one down in Texas.
The federal judge stayed Obama's administrative directive pending the outcome of the underlying lawsuit. So what that basically means is it can't take effect until the underlying lawsuit is determined.
Well, there's about two things I get, and certain things I understand about the law. Number one, judges don't make law, they issue opinion. And if we're stupid enough to go with every opinion that every stupid judge comes up with, we deserve what we're getting. Frankly, I'm against the marriage thing.
Presidents don't make laws either.
Yeah.
Our legislature does.
Well, no, but you see, if we start heading toward a dictate, again, this is why I'm talking about reading the books.
Absolutely.
Get intelligent.
Couple of other issues. We're going to have a fundraiser. Sheriff Atchinson's going to have a fundraiser for Mr. Riffle. I think the date is set for September 17th. So please, we'll try and get something to you guys so you can put it on the website. I don't think that creates a partisan issue if you do that. There's something else. What am I missing, Scott? I drove back from Lansing this afternoon, so I'm kind of a little foggy.
Yeah, they got a lot of those medical marijuana places there as you're driving up, I remember.
Yes.
In the last, say, year, how many meth labs have they taken down in Alcona County that we paid for out of county money rather than just
Cleanup's
contribution?
rather expensive.
Cleanup's
And that's what's important about getting Hunt and the state police involved in these cleanups, is our county can't afford the cleanups of these labs. Luckily, we had a medium-sized one last year, what I would consider a medium-sized lab in Glenny that we cleaned up. we had the state response team, meth response team come out and clean it up for us, so we didn't
Wow.
bear the brunt of that one. There's all kinds of figures out there, sometimes upwards of $35,000 to clean these things up, and I don't think this is something Alcona County can afford to do. If we get these other agencies on board, whether they be state police or federal agencies involved in cleaning them up, they can bear the burden of these costs rather than Alcona County. That's a big diversion
Well, the
program
cleanup
for
has
us.
to be done by people that are trained in hazmat.
Yes, yeah,
You know,
certainly do.
It can't be just a local.
I understand that yesterday an Alpena city officer who was unwise to the dangers of meth picked up one of these one-pot meth labs and brought it to their department and endangered the entire department. By doing such, also brought the lantern fuel in there with it that's associated with it.
I think we had a dump site 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, a week ago Friday, we found a small dump site in Glenny.
Yeah, I heard about that one.
Yeah, that was also a one-pot method. And what that is the remnants of what they had made their meth and they threw it in the ditch, which ended up being a pop bottle with some residue in it and some lithium batteries, and those are some of the components that they're using to make this meth with.
We also ended up in Alcona prosecuting an individual, about 6 people were convicted in Alpena County of manufacturing methamphetamines and sent off to prison. Through a H.U.N.T investigation, it was determined that, I'll call him the professor of meth, he taught these 6 people how to cook in Alcona County. So H.U.N.T put together basically a historical meth case against that individual that I prosecuted, and he of course is now where he belongs in the state prison system. But when you get individuals like that, that instruction can go exponential, because who did those 6 people teach? That's when the meth blew up in Alpena County. All of a sudden we've got this huge meth problem. So there are so many issues out there right now with opiate addiction, meth, heroin, morphine, I can't tell you, is one of our bigger problems right now. And it's all basically through this pill diversion that the sergeant was talking about. There's a whole other commerce system out there, and it's pills. I'll trade you the X for 5 blues or 15 milligram morphine pills. It's just horrendous. So please get out there and talk to everybody you know. This isn't about your grandfather's marijuana. Frank?
I'm just questioning the wisdom of us coming out as the Republican Party. I'd rather forget the endorsement and get the H.U.N.T issue taken care of, rather than to come out and, get credit for doing whatever.
This is a drug enforcement millage.
Right.
We need drug enforcement in this county, the type that Sergeant Stephenson talked about. I would rather see everybody visit that Facebook page, like it, comment on it. Talk about your support and need.
Instead of the entire party, I think we could be doing more damage than good, even though we wanted
If we-
to.
Well,
That's when we get
voting
into
citizens just like
voting
Democrats and
citizens as
everybody else.
individuals.
Yeah, it's
As
individuals,
individuals.
that's fine, but to do it as a unit, I question the wisdom.
Well, we're a unit of individuals. I mean,
But we
basically.
just passed, you just put something on the floor, and I'm saying that it might end up backfiring on us. We should think about this.
My preference would be it be a nonpartisan issue, because it is a nonpartisan issue.
Well, we're supporting Dave Riffle, and he's nonpartisan.
But you're not doing it by resolution.
No.
Okay, because you can't. It's a nonpartisan. Do it as individuals is my only thought process.
I agree.
I watched, I was invited to speak at the Democratic Party meeting in Iasco in reference to drug courts. And Mr. Riffle was there also. And one of the individuals there picked up one of Mr. Riffle's flyers and ripped it up in front of him and his daughter and his wife and these other people and threw it up. And it just made me extremely angry. And then when we were done speaking, and it was pretty clearly a plant because the other candidate was there, asked Mr. Riffle what party he was. And Mr. Riffle said, this is nonpartisan. That's not what I asked you. What party are you registered with? him being an honest guy, said, I'm a Republican. You know, and we're in a room full of 40 Democrats. That actually upset a number of the individuals there that watched that get torn up, and even in reference to that question. So, you know, I get concerned at this becoming something that's partisan, like it was the last time, when it's really an issue about the health and safety of the people of this community. All of them.
And I intend on speaking with the Democrats at some point too. It just happened to be that my booth was near yours in the fairgrounds this weekend. And I grabbed a few beers while we were there and spoke, and Gary asked me if I'd come speak. The first chance I get to speak to Democrats, I will be doing.
If we can get them to endorse us, then yeah.
Yeah.
The thing too is, I will tell you what Tom is saying is true, because I don't know what night that was. I know I was at the prayer meeting at church, because David called and wanted to talk to me and let me know what had happened. And I'm gonna say something about this group, and it needs to be said. I know you weren't happy about having Palumbo here. I know you weren't happy about having Moyer here. But you people acted like decent, civil human beings. You were here when we had them here, I think. No, you weren't? Nobody was disrespectful to them. Everybody talked to them decently. But when it came to the Democrats, boy, they treated Dave like garbage. I mean, that was disrespectful and rude. If nothing else, people will know Republicans are at least kind and decent people and give people a chance to speak regardless of what they got to say. We will listen, and then we will ask questions. And I think this group deserves a hand on that.
Larry, I think the last time was one of the problems that Hunt had was the voters said, I'm not voting for it, all this